When we left off, we were 25 days and 3,200 nautical miles into our sail from Costa Rica to Hawaii with a few things broken.
Well, we're no longer catching Dorado. We're switching to mahi-mahi. Right now, I believe you're going to bring that mahi-mahi in and fill it up. It's hanging off the side of the boat right now. I'll give you a look here as Hillary pulls it in.
You guys are such pretty fish. When they're in the water, they're just bright, bright, brilliant yellow. She's lost most of her color now. She is dead, but you can still see the bright blue spots and purple fin. And this is normally just like really gold, brilliant yellow, which is where they get their Spanish name, Dorado. Exciting night tonight. It's day, what is it, 29 today?
29, yeah. And
just, I don't know, an hour, in the next couple hours we're going to be crossing the 500 mile to go mark, which is really exciting.
Nice sunset going down here, and what do we got for dinner?
We have some seared tuna.
Okay, let's eat.
Well, today is day 31 at sea. Whole month at sea, which is pretty crazy. And as of this morning, we've sailed 3,900 miles, and we have about 300 miles to go. So almost there. 2 more days, and we will make landfall in Hilo, which is super, super exciting. We've had really good sailing the past week or so. Last night we had quite a bit of wind, kind of more northerly than the northeasterly that we've had, so we took the pole down and sailed with just the Genoa and the double reef main for a bit, and then went to the staysail and double reef main. This morning it's lightened up, so we're back to the pole out, kind of jerry-rigged out, halfway working. We had to manually extend it because that rope extender pulley system is not working, but it's out there. And we shook one reef out of the main, so we have a single reef main, full Genoa pulled out, and yeah, good sailing. Over the last week or so, we've gotten a few glimpses of a black-footed albatross cruising by. Haven't gotten any shots of him on video yet. We're gonna try to, but beautiful bird, just kind of soars by, checks us out, soars over the water and up in the air. I don't know if it's the same one that's been kind of hanging with us for a week. I know our book says they do like to follow ships sometimes, so maybe. We've nicknamed him Albert Ross, so we're on the lookout for Albert today. How are you doing? What's going on?
Just in pain all the time. My back and my leg, my lower back, and then my whole left leg is painful, like sharp pains and numb. So it's just, it hurts to stand up, it hurts to do anything to move, but standing up and moving around is really difficult, and there's no rest on the boat.
Always rocking.
Yeah, even trying to sleep, it's just rocking backwards and forwards, it's excruciatingly painful. So looking forward to getting into Honolulu, where we can maybe get some proper rest, and also probably see a doctor or chiropractor or physiotherapist or something. Hey, did somebody just fly by? Or was I seeing things?
Albert!
Look at you, beautiful birdie!
Along with Albert, we also had a visit from a tropic bird.
Hi! Fuck, it's been really hot. You can learn a lot from the weather sometimes just by watching the clouds and watching the way they move around the boat. We originally saw it off our starboard here. It looked like it was a good mile or 2 away, almost off our quarter. It's slowly moving down here, and now it looks like it's probably going to pass. It's kind of paralleling us a little bit, and I think it might also cross over and pass in front of us here. You can see a real dark spot on the water up here. A lot of times if you're in front of these squalls as they pass by, you can get hit by a real lot of wind real fast. So that's why we've been watching it, just to be prepared. We've already got one reef in the main, but we'd want to put some of the Genoa away if we felt like it's going to be coming right at us here. Because you don't get much warning. It'll basically arrive and you'll get 30 knot gusts with it on that kind of downdraft. But looking at it at the moment, I think we're kind of behind it. I don't think we're going to get the wind from it, but I guess we'll see. We're not experts. We're about to go up on deck here. Hillary's got her bibs on, even though we're getting close to Hawaii. We've been getting showered on by rain showers all morning, and Hillary's going to tell you a little bit more about why we have to go up on deck.
Last night we had a very eventful night, more eventful than we would have liked. We had shaken one reef out of the main during the day yesterday with the lighter winds, but in the afternoon the wind was picking up into the low 20s, so we decided to put a second reef back in the main. We do our reefing, especially now we have the whisker pole out. We do our reefing off the wind, so the wind's behind us. So when we go take that sail down, we really have to kind of pull and wrestle it down a bit. As we were doing that yesterday, the topping lift, which is what holds the boom up when the sail's not up, broke free. Ty flew halfway off the boat, was hanging off the boat. I quickly came back and helped him get back on board. But now we have a boom that is like totally free, swinging around, and no topping lift. So that is a problem we need to solve. Last night we got the boom back. It's lashed down on top of the Dodger, which isn't ideal, but will work for now. The point that failed on the topping lift is a little block, and that's actually an attachment point. There's two separate lines. So there's a line that comes from the top of the mast down to a couple feet above the boom, and then a separate line from the boom up to a block where they connect. We use that second line on the boom to raise and lower the topping lift. But since that block failed, that means we have that line from the top of the mast swinging around everywhere.
The previous night, we tried to retrieve the topping lift line before sunset. It was swinging around everywhere, totally free, and we were worried that it would wrap on the forestay, which could prevent us from furling in the sail if needed. However, despite our best efforts, with the big rolling seas and the height of the line, we were not able to retrieve it.
So that's basically the gist of it. When I fell partway off the boat there, it aggravated my back even more. It's been very difficult to stand up. Hillary put the cast iron on me, gave me a bit of heat this morning, and I took a pill. So now's a good time to go up in between big rainstorms. Hillary's got her offshore bibs on there, and I've just got some rain pants on. I think I'll just go up like this so I can sit down and not get my bum too wet. Hillary might be up forward, she's got her harness on, and she'll probably be on her knees and everything like that. And then we can talk more about this later when we're successful, right?
Hopefully.
Overnight, we had gotten very lucky. The topping lift line had managed to wrap itself in the best possible place, on the topping lift for the whisker pole. As we can control the whisker pole, we moved it forward, secured it, and then went to work retrieving the line. After hooking it with the boat hook, it was still too high to reach by hand, so I used a piece of wire with a line attached, which just reached to thread the wire through the eye, allowing us to secure and untangle the line.
We were successful. For those of you not super familiar with sailboats, this here is our topping lift. It goes up to the top of the mast, and its purpose is to hold the boom up when the sail is not up. Otherwise the boom would just fall down. There's a couple other ways you can support the boom. You can have something called a boom gallows, which is kind of what our Dodger is acting as right now with the boom sitting on it. There's also a rigid boom vane that can come from the bottom of the boom down to the mast and kind of support it that way. On Veruna, we just have a plain old fashioned topping lift, so holds the boom up, and it also takes some of the tension off the sail if we want to play with our sail shape a little bit. So this is the second line we have on the boom, and it runs back here, and we can kind of pull it to lift it up or loosen it to slack it off and lower the boom. Just going to run this line through here, skip the block altogether. This thimble, this eye should be smooth enough, not cause any chafe. So that's through there, and I'll pull out this leader line we had just in there to hang on to. Success! We got the topping lift back on, the main sail back up, and we're making much better time and a way more comfortable ride. That main helps steady the boat so much. Without that, we were just rolling like crazy, but much better now and faster.
So we went with 2 reefs in that main. We probably could have shaken it down to 1 reef, but we figured we're coming into evening as well, so we'll do the double reef overnight. That'll just be a little bit safer. Conditions seem to have settled down, but we have been getting a lot of squalls, so keeping that double reef in is good for that. We've also got a furled in Genoa, partially furled in, probably around about 100% right now. I just brought like another foot or so of that out, and we seem to be doing pretty good.
Morning. It's morning of day 33 today. We are now well on our way to Honolulu. Yesterday we decided to change our destination. Originally we were planning on making landfall in Hilo, which is on the big island of Hawaii, and it's the most southern and also the most eastern island in the Hawaiian Islands. We heard check-in's really nice and smooth and easy there, and also just kind of a cool place we wanted to check out. But with ties back really being in a bad place right now and not being able to move too much, we decided to go straight through to Honolulu. That way we can get in, just be at a dock, be done. He can get his back seen to and get it rested up. Throughout the night, the wind really lightened up. This morning, just as the sun's coming up here, we got the pole back out on the Genoa, full main up. We're trying to sail wing and wing. It's pretty light. Probably 5 knots of wind, so tough to keep the sails filled, but we're making some ground slowly. It's supposed to be pretty light weather all day today and this evening, so it'll probably be slow progress, but hoping to get into Honolulu in 2-ish days' time.
We just heard our first radio call in, I don't know when. I think we heard a couple of cargo ships talking to each other 3 weeks ago.
There's life out there.
Yeah, and then we spoke to people, but we just heard the Coast Guard Sector Honolulu calling another vessel, not us. But yeah, there's people that are actually out there, and it looks like a really nice day. Unfortunately, as you can hear, it's a very, very calm day. And I just downloaded a new grid, so I'm going to look at it now and see if maybe we'll get a bit more wind. With the wind being behind us, this is the difference between true wind and apparent wind. Because we're moving, I don't know, we're probably still moving at 4.5, 5 knots right now. We do have a bit of current with us. That changes the feel of the wind, or the apparent wind, which is why the sails don't stay filled. Since the wind's only blowing, say 6 knots, and we're moving at maybe 5 knots, then basically you got like a knot of wind behind us, which isn't enough to keep you filled, and that's the noise. But it does feel like it's building a bit, and it should build after sunrise. Looks like a nice one. Nice clouds. Look at those clouds.
Well, you know, we've come to the end of our journey when it's time to use the last onion. I've had this big bunch of onions that we got in Costa Rica hanging from the solar panels. They've lasted so well outside, It's time to go use the last one.
Hot then cold, cold then hot. No, hot then cold, hot then cold.
You started with cold.
Cold and hot, then hot then cold.
Cold, hot, cold,
Cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot. Ice pack, then cast iron, trying to relax my back, you say?
Makes it feel better.
Yeah, there's not much that's working right now. I think it's ready to go see a doctor or lay in a bed for a while. At least we're not going rocking side to side right now, which is the worst.
You've been unable to move the last few days?
Last night, Hillary basically stayed up the whole night. Well, you napped. I think you had your alarm like every hour. I was not able to. Yeah, I wasn't able to move at all last night. I think I got really aggravated when we got the topping lift back, and I couldn't even stand up, so I wasn't able to get up the companionway and look out. I had a tablet with me, and I kind of looked for AIS targets, and Hillary didn't get much sleep, so.
Well, it is about 2 a.m. local time here. Moon just came up. It's getting smaller. It's crazy how fast the moon gets small after the full moon. I think yesterday or the day before it was a quarter or half moon. Getting smaller. Anyways, I've been up since about 11 p.m. or so. After dinner, I took a little nap, and Ty's back is not doing very good at all. He can't really get up or out of bed much, so I am taking most of the night watch here. Our previous watches, especially when we were out at sea and hadn't seen boats for days or weeks, just kind of pop our head up every 15-20 minutes, take a look around. Now that we're getting closer to land, we definitely want to be more vigilant on our watches. Probably 30 or 40 miles from the closest point of land right now. So still a ways. There's no like major navigational hazards, but definitely the potential for more boats. Just as we get closer to land, there's more to watch out for. That's the great thing about being offshore and away from land, is you have much less potential for things to run into. Well, the sun is just about to come up here. I just sighted our first sight of land. See a big mountain, I think is the Big Island, and then I see another big mountain with a light on top on Maui. It's exciting stuff. It means we're getting close to getting somewhere. We're now on a port tack, kind of on a close reach, beam reach, and about an hour ago the wind really started to fill in. We have that 10 knots that was forecast in the Gribs that we only had more like 5 knots of the last 24 hours. And we're making good time, 5.5 to 6.5 knots, which is awesome. The wind is supposed to die later in the day, but I think this evening it should fill in again and give us that final push into Honolulu. It is Thursday today, the 28th of March. I believe we're thinking we'll get in Saturday morning to Honolulu. We're hoping for Friday afternoon, evening, but with these light winds yesterday and what's forecast today, I think it won't be till Saturday.
Basically, I've been laying back here in my little cubby, trying to stay laying down, but I'm very uncomfortable even laying down. It's quite painful.
there's a really good upside with having all of you guys out there following along. We've got a lot of great friends that have been following along live on our journey across here, and I've got some support set up already for when I get into Honolulu, and hopefully a doctor that I can go see. And the way it is right now, I don't think I'm going to be able to assist coming into the dock at all. It's been getting worse, and I can't get up the companion stairs, and it's a 15-minute journey to get into the head. And it's quite painful. I took a stronger pain medication last night, and maybe that took a little bit of the edge off it, but I've still got some really sharp pains. It didn't seem to help get sleep or fix the problem. I guess I've got another night or two to see if my body can get in shape where I can at least stand up on the boat and chuck lines off to people before we come in. I'm not sure what we already discussed about when I did fall over the side of the boat, but we definitely need to debrief on it. And one of the big problems was, if you hadn't noticed already or heard, I wasn't wearing a harness or a life jacket at the time, and I was on the leeward side of the boat. I was really lucky not to fall over completely. It would have been pretty difficult in those conditions to come around. We had the Genoa out on a pole at the time. We had now no main, because it was kind of halfway dragging off the side of the boat, and we had an engine that was also out of operation at the time. So a little bit scary, could have been much worse. The positive sides, we have sailed over 4,500 miles, I believe now, in terms of sailing, and it's been probably 4,200 plus miles straight line from our destination, from our original point of where we left, and that was at what latitude? We were around, actually I don't remember, we were around longitude around 86 when we first left, and I think we're about 155 right now, something like that. So quite a ways. We've finally started hearing the Coast Guard on the radio again. It's been 3 years basically since we left US waters that we've heard actual Coast Guard traffic on the VHF, and that's pretty good, even though it's just warning us about military exercises going on off the islands here, and areas to avoid.
Wind waves 3 to 4 feet. Northwest swell 7 feet. Isolated showers.
As we sailed along the north side of Maui, we watched the birds soar and the clouds pass over the islands. It was hard to believe that we had been at sea for 34 days, sailing over 4,300 nautical miles. We want to send a big thanks to all of you for following along on this journey. All of the comments, likes, and shares mean so much to us. If you're not already, be sure you're subscribed and get notified so you can see our landfall and the continuation of our journey. Until next time, adios.